Larry Duke. And I'll read my script here in a second, but I want to thank Larry for all the time that he has spent with Hanover College Athletics. And he's not done, don't get me wrong. And he's still got a lot to spend. But one of the really neat things about being the athletic director is I get to experience a lot of these moments, the championships, the 1-point losses. I get to experience those as well with the coaches and the student athletes. And Larry has been there for so many of these really important and classic moments. And I would be remiss because one of my favorite moments is at Hope, men's basketball, and I'll probably tell it wrong, but there's like 1.7 seconds left, whatever. We have the ball under our basket by a fluky play because we had just scored. The kid throwing the ball in for Hope stepped over the line when he passed it in. So now it's our ball under our basket, 1.7 seconds left. We couldn't get it in. Coach Miller calls a timeout. Okay, they come in. And I don't know what the play was called, but it reminded me of Hoosiers, the picket fence. And Wes McKinney gets open in the corner, lets it fly, and you hear Larry, "Holy cow! Holy cow, we went in! Hanover wins! And that was one of the coolest moments that I'll remember sharing with Larry, because I was there and it was really cool. And the people that watched it, they got that excitement from Larry. So, Larry, who recently retired from Wiki Radio here in Madison, continues to broadcast high school and, of course, Hanover College athletics, which he loves. He and his wife, Linda, are parents of 2 daughters and grandparents to twin boys and a granddaughter. To present Larry is his daughter, Noelle Stockdale, who is a 2012 Hanover College graduate.
Make this short. I've seen Dad look at his time a couple of times. Pretty sure he's ready to get to the stadium to start the football. So I'll be quick. And I'm Noelle Stockdale. I'm also presenting for my sister who couldn't be here today. I'm proud to introduce my dad, Larry Duke, the voice of Hanover College Panthers for the Athletic Hall of Fame. I thought I'd start by breaking down some of Dad's stats. While not being inducted for his performance on the field, he has some pretty impressive numbers of his own. Dad has been broadcasting various sporting events in high school and college for 43 years. On average, he broadcasts anywhere from 60 to 70 games a year, sometimes driving 4 to 5 hours to get there. And one time, Carter, you'll remember this, we even got moved on the road. That's almost 3,000 games total. No wonder he's had 2 knee replacement surgeries, climbing all of those bleachers all those years. My dad's love for sports came at a very young age. I'm sure most sports enthusiasts do. He grew up in the suburb of Chicago, and for anyone who has ever been on a long road trip with my dad, you have heard various stories of his time there. Many of who have actually been to Chicago with him have had the honor of visiting his old high school. There was a particular story that we have heard throughout the years that is always a favorite. When he was younger, my granny would take my dad to Ladies' Day at Wrigley Field, where she would get in free, and her and Dad could enjoy a Cubs game. They would catch an afternoon game and then head home for dinner. This continued even as he got older, when finally he got to take his kids and grandkids to Wrigley for the first time. He has shared his love for Chicago sports with all of us, taking not only us to Wrigley, but to guaranteed rate to watch the White Sox game, the Bankers Life to watch the Bulls, and the Lucas Oil Stadium to watch the Bears. Dad began his broadcasting career while in high school, doing play-by-play for his school. He then took a short break in which he married my mom and had my sister Emily. Since returning in 1984, he hasn't laid his headset down, traveling around the Midwest, reporting on football, basketball, baseball, soccer, and even lacrosse. I remember the first time he did a lacrosse match. I walked in the house and saw him doing a pregame research on the players, only to see it wasn't for baseball, but for women's lacrosse. I asked him, "Do you know anything about lacrosse?" He said, "Nope." I listened to part of that game, and you would have thought Dad played it himself. That shows not only the mere talent Dad has for broadcasting, but the dedication and passion he has for his craft. Of course, the highlight of his broadcasting career happened last year when he did the play-by-play for Blake's basketball game, while Adam was right beside him, handling the video streaming for him. Broadcasting wasn't the only way he supported and showed his interest in local athletics. Dad has coached t-ball, little league, baseball, softball, basketball. Sorry. Well, he did coach Emily and me. He volunteered for community teams as well. He even came out of retirement when it was my nephew's turn to play t-ball. As Emily and I got older and played middle school and high school athletics, Dad would always try to make it to the games, unless of course he had a broadcast somewhere else. My high school softball season was Dad's off season, and I don't remember a time he wasn't at a game sitting on the side of the dugout. Now that sounds like I played a lot, but I really didn't. I maybe played 5 or 6 games a year, but he still came. He didn't care whether I played or not, just supporting what I was involved in. Now he does the same for my nephews, making it to almost every basketball game, swim meet, and last year driving the golf cart all around the course so we can see each of them play an equal amount of holes. Dad, you have been dedicated to athletics, high school and collegiate, men and women, your kids, grandkids, and others. I can't think of anyone more deserving for this honor you are getting today. Your family and friends are proud of your dedication and passion for athletics, and while they may not be here in physical form, I know for a fact that Greenie and Papal are proud of you too. Just like in 2016 when the Cubs finally won the World Series, Greenie, Papal, Bentley Mason, and now Catherine are waving their pennants and cheering you on. Congratulations.
All right, good time. It's 12 noon and Rob and I've got to be on the air here. But anyway, when I got the letter saying that we're going to be inducted into the Hall of Fame, it was kind of treacherous because where we live is right on Highway 5662. And our mailbox is across the street. So anyway, I see this and I'm looking, oh, this is something, maybe, a donation or something like that. I open it up and I see what it is and I stop right in the middle of the road. And luckily, there was no traffic. Because if there was, there'd just be a grease mark out there on the road. But it was something that I never really thought of that would actually happen. Noel said, I love Hanover. I just, fall in love with it. I have been fortunate that I have had some relatives that have gone here that are alums. Of course, Noel is a 2012 alum of Hanover. And, just being out here is, as many of them said, this is a family. And that's exactly what it is. It's a family because sort of using a former Hanoverian saying from a TV show, everybody knows your name. That's basically how it is here. And it's just been a thrill. When I first started out, we had Jens Sorensen as the sports information director back in '84. Started out with Bob Simon. He and I just went out there and thought, well, let's see if we can do this, and we did. It was successful. That year, we defeated the #1 team in the nation in football, Finland. And that was a thrill at the time. Of course, others would come. But the bad part is that we went out to the West Coast, up to Oregon. Now, Bob and I didn't go. We stood back and had them do the ball game for us. And luckily, because we got pretty much handed our lunch that day. I've worked with so many different ones in the sports information. Our current SID, Ashley, she has just been a dream to work with. Tyler, who was here for several years, he was another one that we had a lot of fun with, especially the time that we first went down to Center College and we're coming home. And for some reason, we got stopped by the police. I have no idea why, but we did. But sports information director that I really owe a lot to. He's not only a friend from all the way back when he played Little League and I coached. Shows you how young he is and how old I am. But he also did a lot of the driving to a lot of the games. He was a good road partner, and that's Carter Cloyd. Several memories with him. We went to Eureka College to play a football game. And we always liked to stop at places that were unusual, restaurant-wise. So we're heading through Danville, Illinois, and we see a sign that said Possum Trot. So we thought, well, let's go ahead and stop on the way back. So we went out to Eureka, had the ball game, came back, went out, stopped at that exit, went back there. It seemed like it was in the middle of nowhere because it had a lot of woods and everything around it. Well, we get back there, it's a summertime. Piano bar and all that stuff. Well, we had just come from a football game and we were kind of, sweating and everything. And I don't know how we got ourselves talked into being in there, but the maitre d' let us in. We had a great table, great time, we had great people over there. Some of the other places, the Lemon Drop up in Anderson, and then Linda will remember this one, Gizzard City. We were coming back from one of the women's NCAA games. I believe it was the one at Calvin, I think it was. And we were looking for some place to eat. We see this sign. We thought, we'd go. Turned out to be a place that actually featured on diners, drive-ins, and dives on the food channel. But another thing that got to talk about, Carter, too, is that we went to Storm Lake, Iowa for the Sweet 16 for men's basketball. And we weren't part of the travel. Well, we traveled all right. 14 and a half, 15 hours that we drove out there. And we counted 16 prisons. There was one prison in Iowa that had the women's prison on one side of the road and the men's prison on the other side of the road. And we were wondering where they had the dances at. But also on that trip was a memorable one. I mentioned about Tyler getting stopped by the police down in Harrodsburg coming back from Center College. Well, we like stopping at going through, different other colleges and everything. So we're going through Iowa State. And we see the football stadium, and we're looking at it. We'd like to stop and take a drive through it. Well, we did, and next thing you know, here comes a police car, security police, behind us, and he stops us, and he said, "Do you realize you're on the sidewalk?" We were traveling on the sidewalk instead of on the road. Luckily, we got out of that one. So that was a big part. The athletic directors here, started with Coach Collier, Coach Naylor, and now Lynn, three fabulous people that, not only support the athletics here and the people here, but also have supported me, and I really, really appreciate that wholeheartedly. They have been just absolutely, fantastic. I'm not, I'm really not in it for, like the awards and stuff like that. My main thing, and should say my former broadcast partners over there, Jared Brevlet, Matt Ernst, my current partner in Rob LaFerry, we're there doing this because of the love of sports, but for the parents, for the families, for those that cannot make it to a sporting event. We're treating now the people down in Georgia for football, and it's been great, and all the people that we heard. Just to use an example of that, Cindy's mom down in Florida listened to every single game, watched every single game, and she always made sure that we knew that she was watching. That's the people that we serve. That's what we care about. Even if it's not Hanover, if it's another team, it's fine. Rob and I worked with the Bluffton crew last week, and we treated Bluffton as well as we did, Hanover. It was a twin about Hanover, but we still had the honor of doing that and telling the people about the game. And that's why I do it. And that's why we do it. Is because of the love of the game and for the athletes' parents and friends and relatives. It's to bring them closer to their student athletes. And when we hear back from the different families, that really, really makes us feel good. Football and lacrosse several years ago, we had a couple of players that were from Australia. And we'd hear from family members down in Australia. And it was, what was it, Ernie, 11 o'clock or something like that on a Sunday morning? They were messaging us and said that they were up and getting ready for the ball game. That meant a lot. The only negative part about people sending in was a former football player, Dan Cornley. His folks lived in Florida, just off the beach. And we had snow flying up here that day. And lo and behold, they sent us a picture of them sitting on the beach with a nice beverage. We're in the snow, they're in the sun, enjoying it. I mentioned about the Finley win. Lynn mentioned about the Hope win with Wes McKinney. By the way, you can still see that on YouTube. That was fun. That was the most memorable time that I ever had, and it was a lot of fun. But besides the loyalty to Hanover and the love of Hanover, there's a lot of other people that are behind this. I'm very, very fortunate. 40 plus years of being married to my wife Linda. She has put up with me traveling and talking Hanover this, Hanover that. She has just been wonderful about it. Staying home when the girls were growing up and being there. Of course, the girls, Emily and Noelle, practically grew up on campus here, and I think that's one of the main reasons why that Noelle came to Hanover. But them, plus the grandsons, Adam and Blake, and granddaughter Harper, and I'm going to speak real quick about Adam and Blake and my other daughter Emily. They were to be here today, but one thing that I am proud of is that they had a classmate of theirs earlier this week. He and his mom died in a tragic fire on the Madison Hilltop, and they had been friends since kindergarten. And Adam, like his grandfather, loves to talk, and he was going to be speaking at the visitation and the funeral today. So really proud of them to be able to do that. Also here today, it's just a couple of people that I just met recently. I know that sounds funny with what I'm gonna say, but it's my sister and my brother-in-law. I was adopted, and through different types of means that my daughters were doing, I found my birth mother, or they found my birth mother, and now real close to my sister, who came down from Kalamazoo, Michigan, and so glad to have them here to share with this for the birth side of the family. And also my brother-in-law Gary and his significant other Deb. I want to thank them for coming on out. But most of all, thank you, Hanover. I really appreciate it. And as Lynn said, I'm not going away. You know, they're going to have to get a wheelchair or something to get me out. But I plan on being here for a while. I enjoy it, and just can't wait to do more and get out there today against Manchester and whoop them like we whooped a couple other teams here lately. Again, thank you very much.
Larry, you can still broadcast in that wheelchair. We have an elevator, so that way, that's where I would put the elevator in. Yeah, this is for you. I want to talk about a few things for later this afternoon. We have a